The champagne glass slipped from Eva Sanders' hand and shattered across the marble floor. The ballroom went silent. More than 100 guests stared as her billionaire husband, Adrian Miller, stood beside another woman, Jennifer Hills, on their 12th wedding anniversary. Eva looked at Adrian, waiting for him to laugh and say this was some terrible misunderstanding. He didn't. Instead, he took the microphone. "Eva," he said, "I've made my decision." Jennifer slipped her hand into his. Adrian looked at her before turning back to his wife. "I've chosen Jennifer." A gasp moved through the room. Eva's eyes dropped to the small envelope Adrian placed on the table. Divorce papers. He had planned this. He had invited their friends and family to watch him end their marriage. For 12 years, Eva had stood beside him through every success, every difficult season, and every public victory. And now he had decided to replace her in front of everyone. Adrian waited for tears, for anger, for begging. Instead, Eva picked up the papers. She signed them, without saying a word. Then she placed the pen down, picked up her purse, and walked toward the door. Adrian's confident expression disappeared. Because he had expected Eva to fight for him, he never expected her to leave. Before we go deeper into this case, take a second and hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and let us know where you're watching from. I'm curious to know how far these stories travel. But Adrian had no idea that the woman walking away from him was about to discover a second betrayal, one that had nothing to do with Jennifer. 12 years earlier, Eva hadn't married Adrian for his money. She came from a comfortable family and had built a successful life of her own. Adrian was already wealthy when they met. He was charming, ambitious, and confident. Eva wasn't impressed by his fortune. That was exactly what attracted him to her. Their relationship moved quickly. Adrian pursued her. Eva eventually fell in love. Their wedding was beautiful, and for years, their marriage looked perfect from the outside. As Adrian's business empire grew, Eva remained beside him. She attended events with him, supported his decisions, helped him through difficult periods. She never demanded a larger house or expensive gifts. She only wanted her husband's love and honesty. But gradually, Adrian changed. His phone was always locked. He traveled more. He became distant. And then Jennifer Hills entered his life. Jennifer wasn't Adrian's assistant. She didn't work for his company. She was a wealthy socialite who moved in the same circles as Adrian. Eva noticed how often they appeared together. When she asked Adrian about Jennifer, he dismissed her. "She's just a friend." Eva wanted to believe him, so she did, until their anniversary. That evening, Eva arrived at the elegant ballroom expecting a celebration of 12 years of marriage. White roses covered the tables, candles glowed beneath crystal chandeliers, and their wedding photograph filled the screen behind the stage. Nearly 100 guests had gathered. For the first time in months, Adrian seemed genuinely warm. "Happy anniversary," he whispered, kissing her cheek. For a while, everything felt normal. Then Adrian stood and took the microphone. "For 12 years, Eva has been an important part of my life," he began. Eva smiled. Then his next words made her heart stop. "Sometimes people grow apart. Sometimes you realize the life you built isn't the life you want anymore." "Adrian," Eva whispered. Before he could answer, the ballroom doors opened. Jennifer Hills walked in wearing an elegant black gown. She went straight to Adrian. He took her hand. Eva stared at them. "You invited her?" Adrian looked at her. "I didn't want to lie anymore." "About what?" "About us." Eva's face went pale. "Are you having an affair with her?" Adrian said nothing. That silence told her everything. "How long?" "Long enough." Eva looked around the room. Her husband had chosen their wedding anniversary and an audience to destroy their marriage. Then Adrian placed an envelope on the table. "Divorce papers." Eva stared at him. Then he said the words that shattered whatever remained of her hope. "I've chosen Jennifer." Eva could have screamed. She could have slapped him. Instead, she picked up the papers, signed them, and placed the pen down. Adrian stared at her. "You're not going to say anything." Eva looked at him through tear-filled eyes. "No." She picked up her purse and walked past him, past Jennifer, past every guest, without looking back. Only after the ballroom doors closed did her tears finally fall. Adrian thought he had just lost his wife. He had no idea he had also set in motion a discovery that would reveal a betrayal far deeper than the affair. The morning after the anniversary, Eva met with Daniel Reed, an attorney who had handled some of her family's affairs. He placed several documents in front of her. "Eva, there's something you need to know." She frowned. "What?" Daniel pointed to a series of ownership documents. Years earlier, Eva had been involved in several investments connected to Adrian, but her name had gradually disappeared from the records. "What is this?" she asked. "Transfers of ownership." Eva stared at the papers. "I never authorized these." Daniel nodded. "That is the problem." Eva felt her stomach tighten. She remembered all the times Adrian had told her not to worry about paperwork. He had always said his lawyers would handle everything. She had trusted him. Now she realized that trust might have cost her millions. Then Daniel placed another photograph on the table. It showed Adrian and Jennifer together at a private estate. Eva recognized the property. Adrian had once told her it was being used for business purposes. "How long has this been happening?" she whispered. "We're still investigating," Daniel replied. Eva closed her eyes. The affair had hurt, but the deception was worse. Adrian hadn't simply fallen for another woman. He had been quietly changing the life they had built together while allowing Eva to believe everything was secure. Eva looked at Daniel. "What should I do?" His answer was simple. "Don't sign anything else, and find out everything." 3 days later, Adrian showed up at Eva's hotel. He looked exhausted. "Eva, I made a mistake." She stared at him. "You humiliated me in front of everyone we know." "I know. You chose another woman on our anniversary." "I was confused." Eva shook her head. "No, you made a choice." Adrian stepped closer. 12 years doesn't disappear because of one terrible night. Eva looked at him sadly. "You're right. 12 years doesn't disappear." Hope appeared in his eyes. Then she finished. "But neither does what you did." "Come home," he whispered. Eva almost smiled. "Home?" "Our house, our life." Eva shook her head. "That stopped being our life when you stopped treating me like your wife." Adrian reached for her hand. She moved away. "I love you," he said. Eva's eyes filled with tears. "Then you should have treated me like someone you loved." Silence filled the room. Adrian realized he was losing her. "Is there nothing I can do?" Eva took a slow breath. "I can forgive you." Adrian looked hopeful. "But I'm not coming back." His face fell. "Why?" "Because forgiveness isn't reconciliation." Eva looked directly into his eyes. "I forgive you because I don't want to spend my life carrying anger, but I won't return to the person who taught me how easily I could be replaced." If you were standing where Eva is right now, would Adrian's apology be enough to make you return? Or would you walk away too? Share your honest answer below. Adrian left. Eva watched him disappear, and for the first time, she understood that walking away wasn't losing. It was choosing herself. Eva didn't spend the next year trying to destroy Adrian. She didn't chase Jennifer. She didn't expose their private lives. She simply rebuilt her own. With Daniel's help, she challenged the questionable financial transfers and recovered what legally belonged to her. But money wasn't her greatest victory. Eva rediscovered herself. She reopened a project she had abandoned years earlier and created a foundation helping women become financially independent. Her story began inspiring others. Women contacted her because they had stayed in unhappy marriages out of fear. Eva understood them. She knew what it felt like to have everything on paper and still feel completely alone. At one event, a young woman asked her, "How did you find the courage to leave?" Eva smiled. I was terrified. Then why did you leave? Because I realized being afraid of starting over wasn't a good enough reason to stay somewhere I wasn't respected. The woman nodded. Eva continued. Never confuse loyalty with self-sacrifice. Those words became the heart of her work. Meanwhile, Adrian's relationship with Jennifer eventually collapsed. The glamorous life they had imagined wasn't as perfect as it looked. But Eva never celebrated his failure. She had learned something important. Another person's regret could never become the foundation of her happiness. 5 years after the anniversary disaster, Eva was invited to speak at a major women's leadership gala. When she arrived, she discovered Adrian was one of the guests. For a moment, she considered leaving. Then she smiled. She wasn't afraid of him anymore. Eva stepped onto the stage. Hundreds of people watched her. 5 years ago, she began, I thought losing my marriage meant losing my future. She paused. I was wrong. She spoke about betrayal, about rebuilding, about knowing your worth. Then she said, sometimes the person who breaks your heart is also the person who forces you to discover your strength. The audience became silent. Eva looked across the room. Adrian was listening, but she wasn't speaking to him. She was speaking to every person who had ever stayed somewhere because they were afraid of starting over. Forgiveness doesn't mean giving someone access to you again, she said. Sometimes forgiveness simply means choosing peace. The audience rose to its feet. Eva smiled. She had finally become the woman she was meant to be. Later that night, Eva stepped outside. The city glittered beneath the dark sky. She remembered that anniversary, the broken glass, the divorce papers, Jennifer standing beside Adrian, and herself walking away without saying a word. Back then, she had thought she was walking away from her entire life. She hadn't realized she was walking toward a new one. Behind her, the ballroom doors opened. Adrian stepped outside. Eva, she turned. I wanted to tell you something. She waited. I was wrong. Eva nodded. I know. I thought losing you would be temporary. She gave him a quiet smile. That was your mistake? He looked at her. Are you happy? Eva looked toward the city. Yes. And she meant it. Adrian nodded. I'm glad. He walked away. Eva watched him disappear. Then she turned back toward the ballroom. She wasn't Adrian Miller's abandoned wife anymore. She wasn't the woman Jennifer had replaced. She was Eva Sanders, a woman who had survived betrayal without allowing it to define her, a woman who had forgiven without returning, a woman who had learned that sometimes the most powerful response to betrayal isn't revenge. It's moving forward. If Eva's story reminded you that walking away can sometimes be the strongest choice, share your thoughts below. Would you have made the same decision she did? And remember, you can love someone and still leave. You can forgive someone and still protect your peace. And sometimes, losing the life you thought you wanted is exactly how you find the life you were meant to live. Thank you for staying with Eva's story. If this story touched you, please like this video, subscribe to Underestimated Saga, and share it with someone who may need this reminder. And tell me your overall thoughts in the comments. Did Eva make the right choice? Was Adrian's greatest mistake choosing Jennifer, or believing Eva would always be waiting for him? Until the next story, remember, sometimes walking away isn't the end of your story. Sometimes it's where your real story begins.